With all due respect, that's a bunch of malarkey. This is a bunch of stuff, deal.
What does that mean, a bunch of stuff?
Well, it means it's simply inaccurate.
It's Irish.
It's Irish. It is. We Irish call it malarkey.
Thanks for the translation.
No,
Okay.
We Irish call it malarkey.
You know what this is? Yeah, and I reserve this word for those rare instances when it's truly deserved. This is malarkey.
That's a bunch of malarkey.
From the King Spring Studios here in Smyrna, Georgia, this is A Bunch of Malarkey. I'm your host, Charlie McMahon. Thank you so much for joining us on this Election Day Eve. We hope you're doing well out there. We hope you had a great weekend. And thank you for tuning in once again. And thank you so much, folks, for spreading the word about A Bunch of Malarkey, telling your friends and family. We're increasing our listenership every single week, and I really can't thank you enough. So, coming off another weekend, we made it through Halloween, right, folks? All that build-up, decorating, all that costume buying and stuff, and then it's over in a flash. That's like that with any holiday, right? Like Thanksgiving, you spend like a week prepping, all day cooking, and then the meal's over in 20 minutes. So you know how it is. Halloween's no exception. So we got through that. We got through daylight savings time. Now, I know a lot of people don't like putting the clock back. They don't like it getting dark, depending on where you live and what end of the time zone you're in, getting dark at 4:30 in the afternoon. I honestly don't mind it for like now through Christmas. I don't mind it. It's kind of nice getting dark early. You put the Christmas lights come on early and that kind of stuff. And you want to hunker down in the winter anyway, and you have a lot to do. But come January, I like it to get light, stay light a little bit later. So for these next couple of months, it doesn't bother me as much as it used to. But I can understand people who love summer who were kind of pissed off at this time of the year. I get it. So we got through that. Now our last hurdle is Election Day. Now, we're not a political show. I'm not going to get into the whole gamut of what's going on out there, but we know, everybody's on a side, so to speak. So we don't know where you land or where I land, but let's just get out there and vote, regardless of your political opinions. Let's get out there and vote. It's very important. Now, I went out and I voted here in Georgia, we have, unlike New York, we didn't have early voting. We had early voting here in Georgia for about 2 weeks. Don't even let me get into what's going on here in Georgia. I'm sure if you watch the national news, you'll see that we have two candidates pretty much at polar opposite ends of the spectrum, which a lot of people fall somewhere in the middle, but you have a guy basically who's the Secretary of State of our state, who's in charge of elections, running for governor, and now he's in charge of overseeing the election. That's like being at bat. That's like a baseball player being in the batter's box and calling his own balls and strikes and being the umpire also. Something just doesn't sit right. But we got a lot of shenanigans going on here. And I went and early voted on Friday. Now, the line, I posted it on my personal Facebook page. The line was about a football field long just to get into the hall where the actual voting took place. And then it was like an airport TSA line with the snaking back and forth with the ropes. Took about 90 minutes. And I have to say, I voted in several different states in my life, in two different states, I should say, New York and Georgia. And depending on where you live and what the rules are, certain things just make the process a lot more difficult than it has to be. Now, here in Georgia, we waited on the line. And then when you got to a certain point in the line, they sat 6 people at a table. It was 3 tables, so they would sit 6 people at each table. And you basically had to fill out a paper form, which is basically asking you for the same information as what's on your driver's license. Okay, so I don't get that. So after you do that, you take the form and your ID, and you get on another line. Then you have to go in front of a person with a laptop and a computer who checks your form, checks your ID, looks at you to make sure you're the real person, and then puts an electronic magnetic card into the computer and loads it with your information, then gives that card to you, and then you walk over to the actual voting computer booth, whatever you want to call it, and cast your vote. It's like a 3 or 4 step process, folks. Now, what I don't understand is if I get pulled over later today, driving my car, the cop takes my license and scans it. He could tell everything about my whole life. He could tell what my favorite meal is, which TV shows I like. They have every piece of information about you in that system. Why can't the election system have the same thing where they just scan your license? Why is it a 3-step process where I have to sit out and fill out a form? Now, in New York, I never even had to show ID. I walked in, told them my name, I signed a book, and went right in. So depending on where you live, some states make it difficult. Some make it too easy where anybody can walk in. It should be uniform. It should be. They should encourage people to vote, folks, not discourage people. 90 minutes is terrible to wait online, and hopefully on election day itself around the country it'll be easier. So that was my election day. I mean, you're online 90 minutes. You're not allowed to look at your cell phone. People brought books to read while they're online, and then you're just standing there staring at everybody. You're wondering, I wonder how that person's going to vote. And I can pretty much tell by looking at somebody how they're going to vote. So I turned to the lady behind me and said, would it kill them to put out a piece of cake or something? You know, to me, it's about etiquette, like we talked about a couple of episodes ago. Would it kill them to walk around with some candy and drinks and stuff and keep us mildly entertained? I mean, come on. Put out a piece of pound cake for us, folks. So that was my voting story this past Friday. So hopefully it'll be a lot easier for you when you get out there on the actual election day. Again, it should be a holiday. Everybody should have time to vote from their job. Instead of President's Day, let's give Election Day its own holiday where everybody's off, everybody has a chance to vote. Obviously, everybody wouldn't be off. Doctors, nurses, and your police and fire wouldn't be off. But for the general population, for the most people, they should have off where everybody has a chance to go down and vote. And it's not make it easy for people, folks, not more difficult. So that's my Election Day rant. No matter how you vote or what you believe in, get out there tomorrow and to make your voice heard. So this past weekend, folks, you're getting old when you do some yard work and you're like achy the next day. I was up on some ladders cutting. We have these like 20-foot tall holly bushes in the yard, and I'm cutting those. I feel like I ran the New York City Marathon, which also took place yesterday. But that's how I feel. That's when you're getting old. When a few hours of yard work makes you feel like you ran a marathon. So we did some yard work. Also went out to a couple of stores. Now, with Halloween over, I'm going to tell you a couple of mutant stories, personal ones, before we get into the real mutant winner and nominees. I went to a store called Big Lots. Now, I'm sure most of you know what that is. They sell pretty much everything there. But I was looking around at some Christmas stuff and I had a couple other things to get there. And it was separated. The Halloween stuff was separated from the fall stuff. And in the Halloween, what was the remnants of Halloween, it said 50 to 75% off Halloween stuff, price as marked, and it showed the discount. And then in a separate aisle, it had fall stuff. And it said all autumn/fall decor, 25% off. Clear as day, separated, no confusion, right? Wrong. I'm online at the register with like 4 items. Of course, the woman in front of me has all this discounted shit, and she's fighting with the cashier that fall is part of Halloween and it should be 50 to 75% off, and fighting with the cashier, and the cashier is doing a terrible job explaining it. So I said to the woman, Halloween is a one-day event. It's candy, it's scary stuff. You have scarecrows. You have like decorations with leaves on it. I go, fall continues after Halloween, and it's clearly marked over there. So the woman's arguing that Halloween's part of fall, and I said, ma'am, technically fall goes to December 21st, technically on a weather, from a meteorologist and weather standpoint, but fall continues after Halloween. You have the whole month of November and Thanksgiving, and all that autumny stuff is not Halloween stuff. This woman just couldn't process it in her small mind that Halloween and fall are two different things, even though they were in two different aisles. And I had to deal with this when I worked in retail. Every year, people would come in. People would come in days before Halloween asking when the Halloween candy and the Halloween stuff was going to be 75% off. And it was this group of women. I worked for a drugstore chain with a 3-letter name. Can you figure that out? Back in the late 90s. And there was this group of women in the neighborhood that would always come in trying to suck up all the Halloween stuff early, and anything that was going to go on discount. They would come in. I don't know if they sold it privately or put it on eBay. I don't know what the hell they did. But they would come in days before Halloween or Christmas and ask when the stuff was going on, and they would annoy the hell out of me. And so we had these 3 bins in front of the store that we would put all the clearance and discounted holiday stuff in. You know, like those big wire bins that you dig it, you know, put the bags of candy people dig in there. And we had these pumpkins. They were motion-activated plastic pumpkins where if you held down a record button on it, you could say something and then release the button, and then any motion in front of those pumpkins would repeat what you just recorded it or programmed it to say in like this weird pumpkin-y voice. So I knew these bitches were coming in the day after Halloween. So I got in early, and we must have had, I don't know, 3 dozen of these miniature programmable pumpkins. I programmed them all to say, it's 75% off now, you cheap fuck. And I put it all in the bin. And then when these women came in and started motioning through, all these pumpkins, 3 dozen of these pumpkins, were saying, you cheap fuck, it's 75% off. And then these women were coming up saying that the pumpkin yelled an obscenity at them. Who did this? And I said, I have no idea, ma'am. I don't know what you're talking about. Anybody could go in the bin and press. So I basically had 3 or 4 dozen miniature pumpkins tell these women they were fat fucks and cheap fucks, and it was funny as they were digging through those bins for the discounted stuff. So it's passive aggressive shit, but that's what you had to do in retail. You couldn't go directly, not like the parking lot where I could fuck with these people, but in retail you had to do like passive aggressive shit like that. So it was mutants in Big Lot arguing over Halloween. Then the other day I'm at the supermarket, coming out of the supermarket, and I see some mutant walking around with like a 5-gallon gas can, approaching all these women in the parking lot. And I see them asking them, and they shaking their heads no. And then I feel, you ever get a feeling when you're walking, like somebody's walking behind you? So I turn around real quick, and this asshole's behind me with a gas can. Says, could you, because at this store Kroger we go to, they have their own gas stations on the grounds, like right at the front of the parking lot. And he says, could you buy me 5 gallons worth of gas? I said, no, buy your own goddamn gas. I said, I have no money on me. He looks in my cart and says, well, you had money for your groceries. I said, first of all, asshole, I paid debit for my groceries, and it's none of your fucking business how I paid for my groceries. Buy your own goddamn gas. He goes, well, you could use your debit card to buy me gas. I said, buy your own goddamn gas. So I'm arguing with this guy. He finally walks away, and he goes to approach someone else. So one of the women that he approached prior to me came over to me, and she goes, oh, I felt so uneasy. I said, you know what he is, ma'am? She said, what's that? I go, he's a mutant. She goes, what's a mutant? I go, a mutant's like a person who doesn't know how to act right in society, a freak of nature. I said, so start telling your family and friends what a mutant is. Oh, I'm going to use that from now on. So spread the word mutant, folks, because that's what these people are. Who walks around in a parking lot, didn't explain why he needed the gas. He could have been going to light somebody's house on fire. Didn't explain that he broke down. Nothing. Just give me 5 gallons of gas. Fuck off, you mutant. I'm not buying your gas. So this is what you have to deal with. Again, the guy's already ringing the bell, the Salvation Army the other day. And then, again, nobody's carrying cash nowadays. He looks at you like you're some type of misfit because you don't want to put a couple of coins in the thing. This is why online shopping is king, folks. You don't have to deal with any of this crap. That's why all these stores are going out of business. Sears, all these places, because people don't want to leave. Because you got to deal with people arguing over Halloween shit, guys with gas cans, all kinds of stuff. So this is why we stay home and we shop online. So that'll transition in nicely to our Mutant of the Week winner. Now, we had a couple of good ones last week. We had the colon kleptomaniac, who stole the giant inflatable colon, against the fire filmer, the woman who sat and filmed an 8-year-old boy on fire and didn't call for help and found it entertaining. And in a 60% to 40% win, we crowned the colon klepto, or the colon cleanser, whatever you want to call it, as our winner, 60% to 40% in last week. So I think we should take all these winners and have one big mutant of the year, right? All the weekly winners, and put them in a pool at the end of the year and see who our mutant of the year is. We could do that. So congratulations to the colon klepto. But by the way, I read that inflatable colon was found in an abandoned house. I guess they realized, whoever stole it, our winner, realized what it was and like, what am I going to do with this, and just abandoned it. So they actually found this inflatable colon in an abandoned house. So it was recovered, and the organization that ran these cancer screening awareness actually has their colon back. So it was a happy ending to our Mutant of the Week story. This week, we have a couple of more mutants. Our first one comes out of San Francisco. where a 39-year-old woman was arrested on suspicion of fatally beating a man in San Francisco with a metal cane during a fight over a slice of pizza, police said last Monday. Harvey Grosser, 65, suffered a skull fracture and later died after Jamila Moore allegedly beat the man with a metal cane shortly after midnight. San Francisco police said they reviewed the surveillance footage that showed Moore attacking the man. The two were reportedly arguing over the last slice of pizza before Moore allegedly struck the fatal blow. Police arrested Moore in Stockton. She was booked into San Francisco County Jail on suspicion of murder and inflicting injury on an elder. Now, I love pizza. And, fortunately my wife's vegan, so we order 2 separate pizzas, so I get as much as I want. I could eat it all at once, save some for tomorrow's lunch. But I've been to pizza parties or, pizzas with friends. And especially when there's an odd number, there's 3 of you, and there's 8 slices of pizza if you only get 1 pizza. Now, you do the math in your head, and you're like, all right, that's 2 each, and then there's going to be 2 left over. So 2 people are going to get that 3rd slice, and 1 guy's going to be out. So you kind of speed up your eating to try to get that slice or whatever. But this woman took it to a whole new level. She actually took out a cane, allegedly, folks. I got to say allegedly, and killed this guy over the last slice of pizza. I mean, so the pizza pummeler, we'll call her the pizza pummeler, is our first Mutant of the Week nominee, and that comes out of San Francisco, the pizza pummeler. And our second one, we'll call the disrobed drop-in. A half-naked Tennessee woman was arrested after she fell through the ceiling of a barbecue restaurant in downtown Kingsport. An employee of the restaurant called police after the woman, identified as 26-year-old Harley Morton, partially fell through a ceiling tile. She managed to lift herself back into the ceiling and continued to crawl around. When the police arrived, they were unable to locate Morton, but they caught a lucky break when she fell through the tiles for a second time, landing on the floor in the kitchen. She tried to flee through the dining room but was apprehended by police. Morton was charged with criminal trespassing, vandalism, and disorderly conduct. Investigators believe that Morton entered the restaurant by removing an air conditioning vent on the roof, but they do not know why she entered the building in the first place or why she was not wearing any pants or underwear. So we have a half-naked intruder, the disrobed drop-in, and our pizza pummeler. So we will have the poll up probably late on Tuesday since our show is going up on Monday. So late Tuesday, and we'll run that through the weekend. So place your vote for the pizza pummeler or the disrobed drop-in. So before we go to our main topic, which is our social media miscues or mishaps or misfits, things that annoy us on social media, maybe our social media pet peeves, we'll call them. There's a quick story out of Valdosta, Georgia, which is in southern Georgia, almost near the Florida border, not far from Florida. Valdosta, Georgia. Construction workers found quite the surprise when they were renovating a building in Valdosta, which is in southern Georgia. City officials told WCTV that when crews knocked down a wall in the building, nearly 1,000 human teeth came spilling out of the wall. While there's no clear explanations, officials said, the building has been standing since 1900 and was home to dentist offices for several decades. The teeth will be donated to Lowndes County Historical Society, where they will be DNA tested to find out who they belong to. At this point, does it really matter who they belong to? The big question is, were they just, when they pulled people's teeth, were they just throwing them in the wall? Why weren't they disposing of them properly? I have no idea, but we're going to follow up on that because I want to know what human teeth were doing, 1,000 of them in a wall. But I actually hid something in a wall one time where I worked, and it's actually funny because people told me long after I left the job, it was discovered. I worked, as you know, in a sneaker department in a sporting goods store, but my first job was at a local mall. Then I got promoted after high school to one of their flagship stores. It was a really busy store in the Roosevelt Field Mall on Long Island, which is a very busy area, one of the busiest areas in the county on Long Island. So, as you know, I've told you like shoe stories from people mismatching shoes and throwing them on the ground, and you're unable to find matches. It was chaos once the store closed and we had to match these shoes up. So if we couldn't match shoes up, we had to write up a loss on these shoes, and it was a lot of paperwork. So my employees, there was a small hole in the wall in the back of the stock room. And it just got to be a pain in the ass every week writing up it would take forever to do all this paperwork. So the hole was big enough to put a shoe in there. So we started, I don't know whose idea it was, but we started putting shoes in the wall. Like if it was just a single shoe, we couldn't find the match. Rather than doing all the paperwork, just put the shoe in the wall. Put the shoe in the wall. This went on. I was at that store for like a year and a half. So God knows how many shoes were in this wall. So people told me, friends that I'm still friends with on Facebook, that after I left and the crew at the time, we all left at different times, when they remodeled the stock room and knocked the wall down, all the shoes, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands, of mismatched single shoes came out of the wall. So I'm kind of familiar with stashing shit in walls, but I don't know if I would do that with teeth. But what's wrong with putting a sneaker in the wall, right? So that was our... I felt like that story tied into an experience I had. Again, I wouldn't put any part of a human body in a wall, but I thought sneakers, just to save ourselves the hassle of all that paperwork, could have been a big time saver. So, folks, we're all on social media now. Some people, they say the older people like me go on Facebook, that kids aren't going on Facebook, but people use Twitter, Instagram. There's a million different social media platforms now if you want to talk to your friends, get news, promote your business. Social media is used for so many things, and it's part of our life, whether we like it or not. Unless you're off the grid living in the mountains somewhere, everybody has a Facebook account or a Twitter account or an Instagram account, and it has a lot of great things, a lot of great qualities, social media. I mean, without having to pick up the phone, you can interact and see what your friends are doing. You can do party invites. You can pretty much do anything on social media. If you're having a gathering, you put your invite out. You promote your business. You reach an audience that you wouldn't otherwise be able to reach. There's a million different things you can do on social media that are positive. There are also people that do things wrong on social media that have you rolling your eyes, and things like that just rub you the wrong way on social media. Now, we've all been, and to sit there and say that you aren't one of them, you're fooling yourself. We've all done things on social media that probably have had people roll their eyes. Or, for me, I know, I used to be very political on Facebook going back 6, 8 years ago. I really try to refrain from it now. I'll put an occasional little meme up, a political meme, or if something really egregious happens, I might say something. But I've really gotten better about posting political stuff, because you're not going to change anyone's mind, folks. You might get people that agree with you to chime in, but you're going to rub, a percentage of your friends the wrong way, and vice versa, just like when you see something you don't agree with. So I try to stop that. What I am guilty of is, I wrote the book earlier in the year, and I launched it last month, and I'm trying to promote it. So I do promote my book and this podcast pretty often, because there's two things that I work very hard at. I work very hard writing the book, and I want to not only sell it, obviously you want to make money on something you do, but you want it just to get out there and your friends to enjoy something that you created, and you want to support each other. When anybody sends me a business page that they started a business, even if I'm not in the same state, I'll like the page, and I will support any of my friends' businesses or creativity. If they have art or whatever they do, I will like the page and try to support them. And many of you have done that for me, both with this podcast and with my book. So I appreciate that. But I am guilty of cross-posting and I do have separate business or pages for this podcast and for my book. I don't just do it all on my regular page, but I do share some of the posts from those pages on my wall, which is, and I'm sure I rub people the wrong way doing that. And, again, you're not always going to be 100%. You're always going to be that social media misfit once in a while, or cross one of somebody's pet peeves. And I've done it. And again, if you say you haven't, you're in denial. You've done it, folks. But we're going to go over some of the biggest pet peeves on social media, and I'll tell you, my opinion on them, and I want to hear yours. People get annoyed when people check into the airport or the gym, or if they go on vacation. Now, that doesn't bother me at all. I'm kind of nosy by nature, so I want to know where people are going. If they post that they're at the Atlanta airport and they're headed to San Francisco or wherever they're going. I find it interesting, but a lot of people get annoyed. I know the burglars love it, where they know where you're going and nobody's going to be at your house for a week. So you got to be careful in that sense. But people checking in places at the gym or at places really doesn't bother me. But it does bother a lot of people. So I've seen a lot of people complain about people checking in places. I want to know where people are going for dinner. I don't necessarily want to see a picture of your tacos at the local Mexican restaurant because I know what a fucking taco looks like. But I don't mind you telling me that you're at a Mexican restaurant in New York City or whatever. It doesn't bother me, but I know that's a social media pet peeve of some check-ins at airports and restaurants, but it doesn't bother me. I'm nosy. I want to know what the fuck you're doing. So keep them coming. Using personal profiles for business. Now, this is what I just slightly touched on. If you have a business, folks, create a page for the business. I'm not accepting a friend request from a guy with a first name Acme and a last name Plumbing. I'm not going to do it. I'll pass on that friend request. Acme Plumbing has sent you a friend request. No. Create a page and then ask your friends to like it. And they can follow it or not follow it or do whatever they want. But make a separate page and use a page, not a human profile for your business. I mean, that's a pet peeve of mine. Make it a separate page. If you want to share on your wall from your business page or if friends want to share, that's fine. But keep your business name on a page, not as again, you're not going to make up a name, Acme Plumbing, first, last name, and then send people friend requests. Make it a page. Then, you know what bothers me? People who complain about privacy on social media. Folks, anything you don't want other people to see eventually, don't say it and don't post it on social media. Privacy, obviously tweak your settings to how you think you want them. But if it's something you don't want anybody to see, years ago we hid our diaries, especially girls got diaries for Christmas. They would hide them under the mattress, so your mom and dad. Now we put all this shit out on for the world to see. If you don't want people knowing shit, don't say it. It's simple as that. Again, privacy settings, you don't want like your ex-boyfriend who stalked you for 10 years being able to access your page and see what you're doing. So you want to make sure that those settings for safety, personal safety reasons. But if you don't want little knowledge out there or little things out there, just don't post them, period. And that solves your privacy issues. Sharing political views. Now, that's a big pet peeve for a lot of people. But it's part of our society now, folks. We're very polarized. It's, half the country's this way, half the country's that way. I mean, I'll admit, especially when Facebook first came out, I put up a lot of political posts, especially during the 2008 and 2012 presidential elections. But I've really tried to curb that quite a bit because people, they can get political stuff everywhere. And that's why I don't keep this show, I don't make this show political at all, because people can go anywhere if they want. It's 24-hour news channels all up and down the dial on your cable TV, the radio. So you're not going to change anyone's mind. Again, you're going to have the people who agree with you come in and chime in and reinforce what you're saying. But how fun is that? I mean, where we're only in a bubble now, where we only want to hear from people who agree with us. It's just not a fun place to be right now. And that's why I try to avoid, I'll chime in on a news site once in a while with my opinion, but, I'm not hoping to change anybody's mind. So political stuff really rubs people the wrong way. It's a big pet peeve. So, again, I'm not telling anybody to silence themselves. If they believe in something, post it. But I'm just letting you know that it is a big pet peeve for people. Now, here's one that bothers me. People who watch, like, the Grammys or the Oscars and have to, like, live tweet or live Facebook everything that happened. Like, oh, my God, did you see Shania Twain's dress? And then 5 minutes later, oh, what a terrible version of... Like, it's just like a post every, 3 minutes of what's going on the show. If I want to watch the fucking Grammys or the Oscars, I'll turn it on. I don't need a blow-by-blow down... And my whole news feed... is somebody watching the Grammys or the Oscars. I don't need that. That rubs me the wrong way, and I know it bothers a lot of people. But you're live Facebooking or live tweeting everything that happens on the award show or if you're watching The Walking Dead or whatever. Just watch it, enjoy it. If you want to message your friends privately that have the same interest that are watching it, great. But the whole world doesn't need to see your reaction to the red carpet, this dress, every 5 minutes. All right, if you watch the whole show and you want to make a comment about it at the end, great. But not every 30 seconds where you're chiming in on something. Just nobody wants to see that. The whole news feed filled up with the Grammys or anything. It rubs me the wrong way. Now, people, I don't know why this bothers me, but people who put up inspirational quotes. Now, it's not the inspirational quote itself that bothers me. It's usually the person that puts it up bothers me. They're usually the most negative cocksuckers out there. Excuse my French, but they're usually the most negative people in the world. And they're trying to put up a positive quote. Like, who are you fooling? You're the most negative bitch out there. You complain nonstop, and then you're putting up an inspirational quote? Are you kidding me? So these inspirational quotes kind of rub me the wrong way, especially when they come from people aren't following whatever's in that quote. They're full of shit. So keep your positive quotes, your inspirational quotes to yourself. We went through a time where there was a lot of those games on Facebook, invites. We don't really see that as much anymore, but those were pretty annoying too. How about these Facebook coupon scams? And everybody believes this. And not one of them was ever true. A $75 off a $100 purchase at Trader Joe's. Spread the word. Yeah, because a company's going to give away $75 free dollars worth of goods when you spend $100 and only keep $25. This happens all the time. Best Buy, Trader Joe's, Starbucks. Bill Gates is going to give you $1 million if you share this post. He's going to split it up with everybody who shared. Come on, people. I mean, you got to be so small-minded. I mean, maybe the first year of Facebook, but how many years ago did we all get on Facebook? 10, 12 years ago? And you still falling for this shit? Come on. It's never true. I've never seen one that's true. They're too good to be true, and you keep spreading this shit. And I wouldn't want to be one of these companies where people coming in, cutting out these coupons off Facebook, and then coming in. Imagine being on the receiving end of that shit. So stop spreading bullshit. These bullshit coupons, they're not real. You're not getting $75 off a $100 purchase. You're not getting $50 free dollars worth of Starbucks for the Christmas season. It ain't happening. So, let's keep it going. My number one pet peeve are vague status updates. When someone says, oh, some people just need to get a life, and then leave it at that. So then they want people to come down to the comments and go, what happened? Oh, my God, are you okay? Or, oh, so much drama. That'll be their status update. So much drama. Or, I don't feel good. Or, I'm devastated. And that's all they'll say. And then they want people to come and say, what's wrong? What can I do? If you're having a problem, reach out to friends. I'm all for when you're in trouble or something's really bothering you, reach out to a friend, pick up the phone, text somebody. If you really need that emotional support, absolutely. Especially in this day and age where there's bullying, suicides, all that stuff. I am all for people reaching out to other people. But don't be an attention whore on social media and just put a vague thing in so everybody asks you. It annoys the shit out of me. It's just a draw for attention. I can't stand it. I just can't stand it. And I'm sure many of you feel the same way. How about taking pictures of food? Now, if you're eating something exotic or you have I'm guilty of it at the holidays, like on Christmas Eve, if I make a big smorgasbord, which I always do, it's okay to take a few pictures and post it. Or if you're at a really nice gathering and the food is extraordinary. But folks, nobody wants to see a picture of your sloppy Joe with the side of tater tots in the middle of on a random Tuesday night in March. Nobody gives a shit. Nobody gives a shit about your sloppy Joe, your manwich, whatever the hell you're eating in the middle of March at 7 o'clock on a Tuesday night. Nobody cares what you're having for dinner. Again, if it's a holiday, something special, great, And is it me or half the time this food that people post, it looks like shit. Especially the shit that they make, it looks horrible. Nobody's going, Sometimes I look at these pictures, I'm like, what the fuck is that? So again, if it's a special occasion, Christmas, I'm totally cool with it. Thanksgiving, if you want to take a picture of your Thanksgiving table, or like a really special meal or something that really looks good, but nobody wants to see a random meal in the middle of nowhere that looks like shit. So, well, how about people who check in? We talked about checking in at the airport, but check in at their own house. And they name it. Casa, if their last name's Smith. Casa Smith. Check. Who gives a fuck that you just got home? And then you're giving away your address on the map to everybody. Like, I never understood, checking into, your name's Mike's house or something. I don't know. It's like, it's just oversharing to me. Nobody cares that you're home. I don't know. What else I got here? I've got, liking your own post. I mean, when did we start? I mean, as if the selfie isn't bad enough. Taking a picture of yourself. Now you have to like your own shit. I mean, how do you like your own post? I really don't understand that. I don't know. It just takes away from it to me if you like your own shit. How about saying goodnight? You got to tell everybody you're going to bed on Twitter or on Facebook. Good night, everybody. What? Who gives a shit that you're going to bed? So that's another pet peeve. And I know I've seen other people say it too. Who cares? Just, why do you have to say goodnight to everybody? Nobody's sitting there going, I wonder when, Janet is going to bed tonight. Oh, there she goes. Now we can all rest easy. Nobody cares. How about these chain letters? Only 2% of you will read this all the way through. Will you do it? You've only read this far. Will you continue to? Come on, folks. Or share if you hate cancer. Who likes cancer? But I'm not going to go sharing your shit. It's this long-winded thing, and then when you get halfway through, some of you already stopped reading, and I hate that shit. I saw one the other day. Let me see if I can find it here. I even snapped a photo of it so I could pull it up for the show. It was like, where is it here? It was like this long-winded, yeah. I'm afraid, it starts off like you really think they're crying out for help. I'm afraid I have a very few personal reasons for this posted. I'm sad, and I'm in the most difficult moment of my life right now. And then you read on, and it says, unfortunately, some friends are just going to press the like button, but not really in reality, because it takes time to read the status. And when it's long, they just move on. I've decided to share this message in support of a very special person who had cancer. And then it goes on, explaining what cancer is, because we don't know what cancer is in 2018. It has to tell you what cancer is. And then it says, please honor a family who has a member who has cancer or died fighting cancer. I've had plenty of people in my family with cancer, folks, but I ain't posting your fucking thing on my wall. And it just rambles on and on and on. And then hashtag cancer sucks at the end. So now you're not only supposed to like this, because liking their thing isn't good enough. You got to share it and copy and paste. Or some of them tell you, don't share it, you must copy and paste. Some say don't copy and paste. Just leave us alone. I'll put on my wall what I want to put on my fucking wall. You put on your wall what you want to put on your wall. It started out with these, remember before Facebook, it was these chain emails. If you don't send this to 10 people in the next 5 minutes, all of our troops are going to die overseas. Like, it was just all this bullshit. I hated these things when they were emails and messages. I hate them on Facebook. So that's a big, what do you call it? What about people who dig up a picture from you from your worst moment back in 1997 and then scan it in and then tag you in it? It's like your worst moment of your life. You were the drunkest you ever were, and now you're an adult with kids. Like, you don't want to see that shit. You want to forget those times. You want to send it to me privately? Okay. You want to send a picture of me looking like a disaster with a mullet at the junior prom? Fine, send it to me. But I don't want everyone in my current life who didn't know me back then seeing me in a mullet with a mustache and bad glasses. And I'm describing myself from when I was a kid, when I was a teenager. I don't want to see that on my wall. And I don't want people who know me now seeing that. If I want to share it with them, when they come to my house, I'll pull out the photo album, okay? So don't tag me in any shit. What about, this bothers me more than anything. People put up these hashtags on Facebook, and they make up their own hashtag that nobody in the world is ever going to, like, if something's trending with a hashtag, like something happened politically, or a mass shooting, or something where people pray for, even though I don't believe in these thoughts and prayers bullshit, pray for Orlando, and it's a hashtag. Okay, I get it. People are going to click on that, and there's going to be hundreds of people saying the same thing if you want to get drilled down on that topic. But people put like hashtag, I just had French toast and it was delicious. Who gives a fuck? Who else in the world is using that exact hashtag. I just had French toast and it was delicious. Or I just vacuumed the carpet and now it's clean. Hashtag. Hashtag I just vacuumed the carpet. And like these made up hashtags that nobody else is ever going to use. And they just do it. It bothers the shit out of me. Like, why are you even using hashtags on Facebook, first of all? You know, that's a Twitter thing. I guess it is used occasionally on Facebook, but nobody's going to click on that because you're going to be the only asshole saying, I just had French toast and it was delicious. There's not going to be thousands of people talking about, I just had French toast and it was delicious. Now, let's start that trending, folks. Hashtag, I just had French toast and it was delicious. But I don't know. Well, people put things in a hashtag that should just be a standalone sentence. Hashtag and then the sentence that they want to say. No, it's a sentence, folks. It isn't a hashtag. How about the caps lock? People use, there is a button called a caps lock, and when you push it, all the letters go to capitals, and when you hit it again, it goes to all regular letters. But then you have people who just keep the caps lock on and get in front of their, whatever it is, probably their computer, because I don't think it's on their phone, and then just give you the status update in all capital letters. It bothers the shit out of me. So, how about these lovey-dovey messages to their husband or their wife or their girlfriend? Like, oh, I met the woman of my dreams, and I'm the happiest husband and father. Why don't you tell your wife how you feel, or your husband? Why does everybody on Facebook have to know that? Just tell them. You know, it's easy. You know, it's more special if you're sitting at dinner with your wife or your husband and say, you know, I'm the luckiest woman or the luckiest man to have met you. And yeah, it's going to mean more than them scrolling Facebook and go, oh, honey, you said it on Facebook. Now, it's more for show to try and paint that your relationship's so great. Because, again, folks, social media, we paint a picture of ourselves that we want everyone to see. We don't post the bad stuff. Well, most people. We'll get into that. But we put out there what we want people to see and the perception we want people to have of us. So this is more for show than anything else. It's great if you really love your wife or it's a special anniversary, the day you met your wife or the day you got engaged. Great. I'm all for that. Your wedding anniversary. But just a random saying, I met the woman of my dreams. She's wonderful. Tell her she's the woman of your dreams. We don't need to hear it. And you know what I noticed about Facebook? I could put up a great joke or something that I find really interesting. Two people like it. I put up a picture of my wedding picture or a dog, one of my dogs, 150 people like it. Those are the two most liked things. And I would imagine so with kids. If you put up a cute picture of your kid, which we'll get into also, you want everybody to like it and it gets the most likes. Kids, dogs, and love shit. You know, wedding pictures or an anniversary thing. Everything else is like people just like lukewarm to it. I don't get it. Those are the three big things that people like on Facebook. Love, dogs, and kids. I don't get it. So I don't like auto-posting to Facebook and Twitter. Like if I put something on Twitter, it automatically goes to Facebook. They're two separate platforms. Let's keep them separate, folks. If I want to say something on Twitter, that's why I have, I don't really use my personal Twitter account, but I do have one for this podcast and for my book. And I go in and I'm targeting two different audiences and I use different things and I don't cross-reference them. I never understood why people use those platforms as a, they intertwine the two. I don't get it. What about liking sad stuff? There's an article about, breaking news, gunman on the lodge, 12 people are dead, and you see people liking it. Now, I know there's no dislike button, but why hit the like button? You can hit the angry button or the sad, but why? You have like 700 blue thumbs up. Why are you liking a post about a mass shooting or a dog dying or people dying in a car accident? Or is it like a virtual hug that you're liking this, or is it actually an unlike? I'm confused, but I never understood why when a terrible story comes out, people like it. I don't get it, and I'm sure it's something that you guys have noticed as well. How about people who post just too much information? Now, for those of you who know me from my Facebook page, I very rarely, I'll talk about my dog once in a while or, something silly. I'll post some jokes, music stuff, my book, the podcast, mostly like funny memes and, just to keep people laughing as they scroll. But there are people who tell you everything about their life. There was this girl that I went to high school with who I was friends with when Facebook first came out. And I'm not friends with her anymore. We got into an argument over politics, believe it or not, because she went off the deep end. But she posted that her husband was cheating on her, and he caught them, and that they had sex on her mattress, and she took the mattress outside and burned it in a fire. Like, just too much information. Like, did we really need to know all that? Like, certain things should just be left. If you want to call you want to call your close friend, you're going through a difficult time, great. But I don't need to know that your husband had sex on your mattress with another woman and that you felt the need to take it out. That somehow Lysol wasn't good enough and you needed to burn it in a fire. All these type of things. Like, and I'll tell you, social media has gotten better. People used to put everything on Facebook. And I noticed just with my own friends on Facebook, people don't really put out too much information as much as they used to. But there are still a few that you just shake your head and like, why are they telling us this? How about lack of punctuation? I mean, I know it's just a quick status update or saying something, but people just forget about periods, spelling. They don't look. When you spell something wrong, it puts a little red thing under it. Fix it. You know, people just put whatever they want up there. They don't try to make sense out of it. You know, at least clean it up a little bit, folks. That's a small pet peeve, but I know for some in the grammar police, as part of the grammar police force, I know that does bother some people a little bit more than others. How about the selfie in the bathroom? Now, I got a couple problems with this. First of all, there are some people who take more pictures in the bathroom than they were pictures on the moon. Would they take 10 pictures when they went to the moon? Some people, they get the duck face. They're in the mirror in the bathroom. You look behind them, and the bathroom's filthy. Now, when I take a picture of even my dog in the house, you know, not that my house is dirty by any stretch of the imagination, but if there's something in the background I don't want, it's called cropping the picture, or you retake the picture. Some people, they just take it. There's no editing. You see dirty underwear on the floor. You see the toilet bowl they didn't flush. The bathroom sink is filthy, like it hasn't been cleaned in 25 years. And they just snap the picture, and then they post it. And they don't even care. Like, the house is totally filthy. And they just snap away, and then they put it up. I don't understand that. Not that, again, what I talked about, people, you know, present, you know, on social media what they want people to perceive them as and stuff. And then some people just don't give a shit. They just take a picture. It could be the filthiest house, and they just snap the picture in the bathroom. I don't get the bathroom pictures in the mirror. I've never taken a bathroom mirror picture in my life, ever. As far as even, I mean, we'll get to selfies, but there may be, if you look at my Facebook photos, in my whole life, I've maybe taken 10 selfies in my whole life. I just don't understand. I'll use a picture that someone else took of me for my profile picture. I can't sit there waiting to get the right angle and the light I can't do it. But the bathroom selfie pictures are the worst. Why you got to go in the bathroom? Like, it's disgusting to me, seeing a toilet bowl in the background while you're posing. You know, I'm going out tonight to the club. You got the filthy toilet in the background. I don't get it. I really don't get it. You know what I hate? When people use their comment, they want to, like, talk about last night's Walking Dead, right? So you put up a post that's totally unrelated, like, you know, my dad's in the hospital or something like that. Everybody's saying I'm sorry or whatever. You know, update on my dad. And then people say, did you see The Walking Dead last night in the comments? Instead of just messaging you or, you know, putting it in a proper context, they'll just use a post that's totally unrelated to starting a conversation. And then you're just like, where did this come from? I don't get that. I would never, I don't get it. Again, what I talked about, like if you're going to have a private dialogue, like you're making plans with somebody, you know, Saturday night, you know, say I post like, hey, everybody, hope you're having a good day. And somebody says, you want to go out Friday night or you want to hang out? I will switch the conversation over to, I will instantly text them or private message them. You see these conversations on people's wall. They're making plans, where they're going, and it's just like 90 comments long. Just go to private message if you're going to do this. Now the whole world knows you're not going to be home, where you're going, what you're doing. It's just, to me, it's not only a stupidity issue, it's a safety issue. Just take the conversation private. We don't need to see the whole nuts and bolts of your plans for Friday night. I don't know. All right, here's one. I only have a couple of these on Facebook, but I'm going to say it. I'll probably piss them off, but I don't care. I don't understand when husbands and wives share a Facebook account, like John Julie Fredrickson, or, you know, that's not my real friend's name, folks, so I'm not going to out anybody, but I like doing things with my wife, but we're two different people. My wife has totally different interests than I do in a lot of ways. We have some common interests, obviously, or we wouldn't be married, but I like certain things. My wife uses her social media. I use my social media a lot more than she does. She uses hers for different reasons. There's no reason to merge our accounts unless there's like a trust issue there. Maybe for some people, I'm not going to judge other people. I don't know why people share an account, but maybe there's a trust issue there. I don't understand it. They're two individuals with two separate lives. They share their lives if they're married, but still two separate individuals with two separate points of view, I don't understand the merged Facebook thing. I don't know. Maybe you guys can explain it. Maybe some of your friends have it and they've given you an explanation, but I don't get the spousal Facebook sharing. It's just weird to me. So those are basically my pet peeves and a lot of your pet peeves on social media. We want to hear yours. I'm going to put something up maybe tomorrow and ask you what your biggest social media pet peeves are. What really rubs you the wrong way? And don't say the bunch of malarkeys posts every day because I'll kick you in the ass. But no, seriously, I want to know what you're like. Maybe it's not something I didn't mention today. Maybe you can shed some more light on some of the things I did mention. But what rubs you the wrong way when you're scrolling through and one of your friends posts something? What bothers you? So we want to know what your biggest pet peeves are as far as social media. So let us know. We'll put up a post in the next day or so. We're putting the show up early today. Today is Monday, and I normally post Tuesday. But as you know, based on the clip, if you saw our preview clip, I'm going to post today because tomorrow is Election Day. I know a lot of you will be running around, so you can listen tonight on your way home from work or on your way to voting, on your way home tomorrow. I'll give you an extra day to catch up, to listen to this episode, and you'll have all week to listen to it. But I want to give you the option of listening to it before Election Day or during. Maybe it'll kill some time online at your polling place. Hopefully it won't be too bad. But I want to let you all know that we are available on iTunes and some of the apps. It's called Apple Podcasts. I know it's iTunes if you're on a computer. It's Apple Podcasts. Get that app for your phone. If you have an iPhone, you can find us there. Spotify, which is obviously a music streaming service. You all know what it is. Google Play for those Android, I believe Android type phones. We're available on iHeartRadio now. So if you like iHeartRadio, it's a quick app to put on your phone. Go to iHeartRadio, go to the podcast section, look for a bunch of malarkey. We're there. If you don't like any of these apps and you don't want to download anything on your phone, just go to YouTube and type in a bunch of malarkey and look for our little shit pot with the rainbow. And we have all our episodes are downloaded right to YouTube. So you don't even need one of these podcast type apps, music apps. You can go right to YouTube. And I'm working on getting us onto TuneIn Radio, which is another popular radio streaming music app. So hopefully that will be announced in the next couple of weeks. If you listen to us, folks, on any of those apps, Apple Podcasts, iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, any of those, just hit the subscribe button, iHeartRadio. That'll help you find our new episodes quicker. It will let you know when there's a new episode. And please review us, especially on iTunes. I can't express this enough, especially when even with my book, if you bought the book and you enjoyed it, reviews are so important on these sites. Not for me to say, oh, wow, look how many people like my shit. It's not about that. What that does is it improves our ranking on all of these specific platforms and gets us more exposure where people will look for a comedy podcast, and we'll be one of the first ones that come up. If we don't have any reviews, we're going to be buried unless you search for us specifically. Same thing with my book on Amazon. If you punch in comedy book, mine's not going to come up until it gets at least 50 reviews. They start taking you seriously on Amazon, from what I understand. So reviews go a long way. And I always welcome your comments. And we have some people that comment every week. I know there's a gentleman, David, out there, and my friend Will from high school. He comments a lot. I really look forward to his comments. Will really drills down on the comments, and I really like that. And Amanda and everybody comes on and does some great, Renee, everybody comes with some great comments every week. So go to the social media, since that was our topic today, and go to our Facebook page, A Bunch of Malarkey. Vote for the Mutant of the Week. Comment on the show. We're going to have some more stuff this week. as far as stuff you can comment on, but we want to know what pet peeves you have as far as social media. So we're going to post that, and we want to hear your comments. Just briefly, A Whole Lot of Shenanigans, my book. There is a holiday promotion going on now until supplies run out on eBay. $9.99, folks. Now, where you're going to get a 240-page comedy book for $9.99. Now, I'm keeping it under $10 because I know a lot of the Secret Santas at work, it's usually a $10 threshold. It's a good little stocking stuffer, a good little Hanukkah gift for one of the nights. So go to eBay, type in A Whole Lot of Shenanigans. I'll sign the book for you. You'll get a signed copy. I may even wrap it for you. Who the hell knows? If you want it wrapped, I'll even wrap it for you. But I want you guys to get the book. $9.99 on eBay. It's still on Amazon, a couple of dollars more on Amazon with free shipping. Type in A Whole Lot of Shenanigans on Amazon. You can get your ebook, and you can get it. Now, Amazon, from November 1st until December 22nd, it's free shipping on everything. There's no minimum. So even if you're not a Prime customer, folks, you'll still get free shipping on the book. So it's a couple dollars more on Amazon, but you can order it through Amazon. So $9.99 on eBay, a couple dollars more on Amazon. We hope you pick it up for the holidays. If you want to give the gift of laughter, give A Whole Lot of Shenanigans a shot. I'm sure the recipient. Or treat yourself, folks. If you want to get through your day, you need something funny to read on the toilet or wherever you read, no judgment here, get A Whole Lot of Shenanigans. I think you'll enjoy it. Real stories from yours truly, and pick it up. eBay or on Amazon. So that's going to about wrap it up for this week. I hope you enjoyed the show. I hope you gave some thought to our pet peeves, our social media pet peeves, and maybe you'll consider saying, holy shit, I violate a lot of these, and you'll scale it back a little bit. I know, or if I'm guilty of one that maybe I missed, call me out. I'd say, Charlie, you do this shit a lot, and now you're on there. I don't want to be a hypocrite, folks, but I'm pretty sure I don't do a lot of what I talked about, except maybe pushing my book a little too much, which I've scaled back a little bit. The holidays are coming, so expect more, like it or not. Anyway, well, I hope you had a good time listening to the show. Get out there and vote. It's very important, no matter what your political leanings are. People have fought and died both in wars in this country, our veterans, and people in the streets of this country fought for certain rights in this country and given us the right to vote. Civil rights movement, women's rights. People have gone through hell to give us the privilege of voting. So if your friend or if you have an elderly neighbor that can't get to the polls on their own with a car, they don't have a car or transportation, offer to give anybody who need, whether they agree with your vote or not, folks, agree to give them a ride to the polls, help people out. We should all be voting. So no matter what your political leanings are, and I respect everybody's point of view, get out there and vote, folks. It's really important. So that will wrap it up for our pre-election day episode. Thank you so much. Please share the link when I post the show. Let all your friends know about A Bunch of Malarkey. I hope to have Jen back in the studio next week. My logistical issue on my end prevented a co-host this week, so I apologize that you had to listen to just me, but I hope you had a good time anyway. So as I always say, folks, and even on the night before Election Day, it's always true, beware. It's a shit show out there. Thanks so much for joining us. This has been A Bunch of Malarkey. Take care, everybody.